This is exactly how I would get into Amazon FBA if I could start all over in 2024. For some context, I've been doing Amazon for the last 7 years now, earning over multiple 7 figures during this time, and I've helped over thousands of students generate over $10 million in total revenue selling on Amazon. And I've also scaled multiple successful Amazon FBA businesses, and I have insider information about what's working in the Amazon space right now because I'm in it day to day. So it's fair to say that all of this time in Amazon FBA, I might know a thing or two and know how to make a lot of money from it. And if I could go back in time knowing exactly what I know now, this is exactly how I would go about it. When I first learned about Amazon, I understood that it was a little bit daunting, a little bit overwhelming because there's just so many moving parts to the business, but the business itself is actually pretty straightforward. It's a very easy business model because all you're doing is finding products that you can sell for cheap and selling it for higher on the Amazon market. It's no different than, selling your own t-shirt brand or, making some lemonade or something like that, or flipping products even. It's the same dynamic, it's the same style. It's the way we live life. This is how we operate. Everything you see around you is a product of e-commerce or some kind of transaction where something was bought for lower, manufactured, and then sold to the consumer for retail, right? This is the way of life. So the concept is very simple, but it's hard because it has a lot of moving parts. And if I knew all of these steps sooner and I did these steps sooner, I probably would have saved a lot of time, a lot of money, and a lot of headache as well. So I want to go through kind of all of these steps I would do this time around, and hopefully that's going to help you guys. Step one is picking the right product, because picking the right product can literally make or break your account. The right product is what's going to vibe with the customer best and also be able to make you a ton of money. So some of the criteria I have is high demand first off. So what does high demand mean? High demand means that there's a lot of volume of units being sold for this product market, a lot of sales, a lot of total revenue as well. If you're using tools like Helium 10 or Jungle Scout that can show you all the numbers on the Amazon market space, what I'm actually looking for is a market, a product market, like let's say it's an insulated cup, right? Coffee cup. I want to see that in that total market on the first page, there's over $200,000 in total volume in sales that's being generated. That's giving me a lot of clarity that on that first page, there's a lot of people making money. Right? And then on top of that, if it could even be more, if it's 500,000, a million, that's even better. But I want to also go into a deeper level and look at the top 10, top 20 sellers and make sure those guys are all making good money and not just dominated by one product, one person, one seller. Because if that's the case, if it's just one seller doing $1 million a month and everyone else is having scraps, I probably don't want to get into that. The next criteria for finding the right product is the sale price. The sale price is going to dictate a lot of whether you're going to make profit or not. Look, making sales is great, but we're in this business to make money and make profit. So if you're not going to make money in the first place, then what's the point of the product, right? Learning how to find the right price point is important. I like to recommend going between 20 and 30 or more. The lower you go in the sale price, the harder it is to make profit because advertising can get expensive. And if you have a product that you're selling for $10 and it costs you $2 to make, and the Amazon fees are another, $3, something like that, you're not going to be left with a lot of dollar profit, and your advertising can eat that up very, very quickly. So if you have a higher sale price, your dollar profit's going to be actually larger, and so you'll be able to eat the cost of more expenses like advertising, storage, etc. This is one of the mistakes I made early on, was trying to sell a product that was way too cheap, didn't have enough margins, and the cost of advertising was just way too much and eating up everything. Now, speaking of advertising, Amazon has their own platform for advertising, and they use a cost per click advertising, so CPC. And so you can see kind of the keywords you want to target and how much it's going to cost if you want to put your product in front of that keyword. And for us, we really like to look at cost per clicks that are less than $1.50. Ideally, back in the day, cost per click of advertising was like 50 cents, 40 cents a click. Now advertising has gotten a lot more expensive on Amazon, so we want to be able to manage that spend. So ideally, if you can find a product market where the cost per click of advertising on average is below $1.50, that's going to be profitable. Next is the actual profit margins itself. How much profit should we be actually looking for when it comes to a product we want to sell? We want to make sure that product has over 30% profit margins, right? This is before advertising. This is just including the cost of goods, the Amazon fees, storage fees, etc., just those. But this is going to be able to leave us with a good enough margin that if we were to spend money on advertising or anything miscellaneous, we'd still have at least a 20% profit at the bare minimum. But remember, this is a bare minimum metric. I really don't want you guys to rely on just that, because I did that same mistakes. Bare minimum metrics. I want to nowadays aim for 40, 50, 60% profits. So that way I can spend more, have more flexibility, and then at my net after everything could be over 30%. Lastly is unique selling points. I stress this a lot. I want to be able to have some type of unique selling point for my product. I need to see if I can improve the product in some way, if I can make it stand out better in functionality, branding, have a better brand, in design, aesthetics, something of that nature. I want to be able to make sure that my product stands out against competitors in some way. It doesn't need to be an expensive way. I don't need to revolutionize the product, but just enough to visually show the customer that mine is better than the competitors, because I know I'm going to be coming into this product with no reviews or very, very low reviews compared to my competitors who may have a few hundred reviews. So I need to really convince the customer that what they need is mine, not theirs. And I've made tons of mistakes before in the past not doing a good job at this, which caused the product to fail. All right, step 2 is finding the right supplier and how to find suppliers. So this one is definitely something that you need some trial and error to. Learning to work with suppliers and negotiating with them is probably one of the most important things you can do when you're starting an Amazon business, because you'll be able to get the best quality product and also the best competitive pricing as well, which is going to help you with your profit margins. So it's super important that you know how to find these suppliers and know how to talk to them and work to the right deal with them. One thing I really learned about talking to suppliers is never be afraid to ask for something. If you never ask, you never know. What I mean by that is a lot of people see the price that they give at face value. So the suppliers may offer you a product at $10 per unit, and then people get discouraged and like, that's a little bit too much. And then they don't ask or negotiate for a better price. They just dismiss the supplier. When you instead just ask, well, that's a little bit too much. My target price is actually $5. And is that something you can do instead? Just simply asking is going to entice the supplier to want to work with you, work for your business, and give you a better price for that as well. So they might not come to the $5, but they might come down to $7, and that might help your margins a ton. So when in doubt, just ask your suppliers. Now, when you're finding suppliers, we like to use Alibaba and make sure that these Alibaba suppliers have trade assurance so that our money is protected and our goods are protected. I typically like to find 10 to 20 suppliers and then narrow it down to my top 3 that I'm going to order samples from. Now, when you're going through these 10 to 20 suppliers, it's just seeing who's going to be responding back to you, who's cooperative, who has the best pricing, and who's willing to really work with you as well, and also has good communication skills. That's super important. There's nothing more frustrating than working with a supplier that really sucks with communicating, because this is like thousands and thousands of dollars on the line. You don't want a supplier that doesn't understand you or is going to ghost you. Once you've narrowed it down to your top 3 suppliers, you're going to want to work with the pricing even further, comparing and using the prices against each other, telling the supplier, hey, my top supplier here gave me it for $6. Can you do the same price or better? And they might come back with you at like $5.90 or something like that. And then whoever really gives you that best price with the best quality as well is who you're going to place your deposit for. And usually deposits are going to be about 30 to 50% of the total, value of your goods. If I didn't know how to work with my suppliers, I wouldn't be where I'm at today, and I have great relationships with my suppliers now. Step 3 is understanding logistics, how to send your inventory from overseas so you don't lose your inventory, and also send it to the right warehouses on Amazon. So a really important step is use DDP shipping, which means delivered duties paid. This shipping means that the responsibility goes to the freight or supplier and not you. If anything happens, they are responsible, they have to cover it. Now, to be able to get your Amazon warehouse locations, you need to open up your Seller Central account and then get the shipping plans from there, create that shipping plan, and then you'll get your labels. You give those labels to your supplier, and then they will do all the labeling and packing for you. And it's super important that you get these quotes from your shipping to make sure that you're still profitable. One of the biggest mistakes I've made, and I've seen a lot of other people make, is that they don't check their cost of shipping, and it really hurts their profit margins because they thought it was going to be at a certain point here, and then their supplier tells them, oh no, the rate is actually this much, and it ends up hurting their margins, losing 10-15%. So it's super important that you guys go through and learn how to not only do logistics but get quotes so that your margins are still solid. All right, step 4 is listing your product on Amazon. Now, here's what you guys need to understand. Your customers literally cannot touch or feel your product. They're only relying on whatever they looked on their phone or their desktop, laptop, whatever. They can only see the product images and your description, your copywriting. So they're relying on just that. that. So it baffles me. I mean, I did it myself, but nowadays it baffles me that people put up these horrible pictures that are taken by like their neighbor or something like that, or themselves, when they should be hiring professionals. So one of the most important things you can do is with your images is translate that over to the customer to show them why your product is better than the competitors. So this was one of the things I was lacking on when I first started as well, is not hiring professional Amazon photographers who have the experience of creating a beautiful listing that appeals to customers. So nowadays, that's all I do. I'll spend thousands of dollars on the right photography to make sure my product stands out. So it's important that you use professionals, not local people around you, because there's a certain style to Amazon products. If you look at Amazon, you'll see that there's a certain style and way that the images look, and it's important that your designer or your photographer understands how that looks so they can implement that format and make it even better. Now, the main things I would do with my images nowadays is I would have a clickbait main image. So that means having an image that really pops, really stands out against competitors, and really catches the eye of the customer. This could be changing the angle of the product, adding some small graphics to it, and of course it needs to be under a white background as well. But being creative with that main image is going to help a lot so that you can draw a lot of clicks. Next is the infographics, which is after the main image, and this is going to be the chance where you get to show off your product. You know, talk about why yours is better than theirs, talk about features and benefits, put them in a lifestyle setting as well. Your infographics should definitely talk about why your customer's life will change if they buy this product and why it'll benefit them, because you want to invoke some kind of emotion out of it, maybe solving a problem or, you know, making them feel better in some way, something like that. It needs to invoke some type of emotion, so you need to translate that through your infographics. And one of my favorite style of images is a comparison image, when it's showing ours versus theirs type of thing. Definitely one of my favorite type of images. Step 5 is finally launching your product on Amazon. The great thing and my favorite thing about selling products on Amazon is I don't need to launch on Facebook, TikTok, Google, YouTube, whatever the case may be. All of these complicated external traffic or using social media or anything like that and putting yourself out there, I can just do it all on Amazon. I can be completely private about it and use only Amazon's platform for advertising. And the goal is basically to launch your product and get as many eyes as possible so that you can convert for sales. And eventually, as you make more sales through advertising, it moves your product up the organic ranks, so you're displaying on page 1 for multiple customer searches. So if you're selling like a insulated coffee mug, customer searches that keyword, your product would be shown on page 1. It doesn't really matter what the position is, but you would be on that first page, because most people don't go past the first page. I know I don't. I just look on the first page and just buy from there. Now, the way I like to run my campaigns and my launches nowadays is I run a keyword search on my competitors, because there's tools out there that allow you to see what your competitors are doing and what they're searching for and what they're targeting for their product. So I like to build a master list of keywords of all of these relevant customer searches that are related to my product that my competitors are using at the same time, so I can put myself in front of that. And I want to be able to get as many views as possible for all the most relevant keywords. And I like to use, again, just Amazon PPC to launch that. And I optimize my advertising about every 3 to 7 days. And that is literally the exact step-by-step process on how I would get into Amazon FBA all over again as a complete beginner in 2024, all the way through getting through $10,000 a month and beyond. If you guys follow every single step in this video to a T, I promise you, you will be able to build a successful Amazon FBA business. But doing this alone is clearly easier said than done. And with everything I've given you, you really have 3 options. Number 1, you can completely ignore everything I've said in this video and continue on with your life. Or number 2, you do it yourself, knowing all the problems you'll face, and I wish you the best of luck. Or number 3, you work with me and my team to help you finally make some online money. And if you picked option 3, I've got something special for you guys. What I want you to do is click the first link in the description. On that page, you'll learn how you can start your first online side hustle within the next few days, just using our bridging to buyers method on Amazon. So make sure you click the first link in the description and watch that video on that page to learn more, and I'll see you guys there. Also, of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I hope you guys enjoyed this Amazon video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.